Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. And guys, this story, which I'm going to go over, is without a shadow of a doubt the crazy story of the month. Or shall I, let me rephrase that. This is more the crazy story about a crazy girl of the month. Or probably of the quarter. No joke. This story is all about a guy. He's a young guy. He's a neighbor. He lives in Boston. A young guy who's off on his career and doing well for himself. And as a young guy in his early 30s, he's obviously dating and all that. And he starts dating this woman who definitely shows the example of the old hot, crazy scale. He starts dating this woman who's absolutely smoking hot. I know this because he sent me a picture of her. And before you ask, no, I'm not going to show you the picture. But trust me, I can vouch that she's smoking hot. But as you're going to see as I go through the story, she's also crazy. And you're going to see how this guy, because of obviously her looks and her body and things like that, he lets a lot of things slide that he absolutely should not. He doesn't trust it. He doesn't listen to his gut when he should have. He's way too Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. White Knight, when he certainly should have cut ties with her early in the beginning when his gut was telling him, danger, move on. And you're going to see the type of crap that goes on and she brings into his life. So there's a lot of great lessons in this particular story. Real quick, basically confirming the hot, crazy scale matrix. It's dead on. 2, what happens when you are the nice guy and the white knight, and how people can take advantage of you, and how you can let that bring all sorts of turmoil and drama into your life. You need to learn to say no and cut people out of your life that cause you problems, even if you feel bad. And the last one is, the very important one as well, is what happens when you don't trust your gut. When you don't listen to your feelings, you don't listen to what your gut is telling you, and the kind of danger it can bring into your life. Okay, very important lessons here. But this is a longer story, but you guys, aside from the lessons learned here, you're also going to find this entertaining as hell. And I thank this guy for sending this story, because believe me, some of you guys, when you hear this story, will be commenting in the comment section what you think, and you know how you probably wanted to give this guy a good slap some of the times here. But this guy is humble. He knows he messed up, and he's sharing to help guys out. So anyhow, starts off, he says, "Hi SSM, you're putting out good stuff. Keep it up. I wanted to share a story of my own, which your other listeners may find amusing and or get something from." Oh, they're definitely going to find this amusing, bro. I can assure you of that. It is a bit long, so feel free to cut out any extra stuff as you see fit. Oh, no. This is good stuff. I'm not cutting anything out of this story. This is too good. He says, as some background, I'm a guy in my early 30s working in the financial industry in Massachusetts. I've had a few relationships through the years, some of which, and he says, in my early 20s were positive, and the ending of which was my fault or due to my poor decisions. Others more recently ending because I decided the girls just weren't the ones for me. A lot of the issues on my end stem from the fact that I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career until after I left college and learned about finance. This led to several years of my working my butt off to do unpaid or underpaid work while trying to get in, thinking my lucky break was just around the corner. Looking back, I had a lot of coffee this morning, guys, and I was just drinking coffee now. Whenever I do, it tends to have an effect in my mouth, so I can't read as well, so just bear with me here. Looking back, I should have enlisted in the military or something and then gone for an MBA and tried again later. But hindsight is 20/20. You can't change the past, bro. It is what it is. But you're on the right path, as obviously you'll find out at the end of the story. The story is set in late October 2019. I've been working for a great guy for a few years who had initially taken me on at a financial services firm, then brought me along with him when he moved to another, better firm. One of the top in my field and one of the most desirable roles, which I couldn't have gotten into if it were not for him. I had been brought in as an intern initially due to the company's recruitment timeline, which I was centered around new hires coming on a few months after I joined. And the company had been dragging its heels on promoting me in order to save money. Despite that, I made enough to afford a really nice apartment in the city overlooking the Charles River and was able to do the things that I enjoyed in my free time, like rock climbing and hiking. An apartment overlooking the Charles River, I'm sure that's pretty nice. And I know the kind of prices that people pay in Boston. So this guy obviously wasn't doing too shabby to start off. He says, I've never been into hooking up, but I've always had plenty of opportunities and mostly have been just going on dates here and there for a few years. Looking for that needle in the haystack while advancing my career, working out regularly, getting after my goals now that I had a proper opportunity to do so, etc. Well, great, man. You're focusing on your purpose. That's awesome. But you're going to see here, his purpose will be diverted a little bit by this young lady that comes into his life. One girl I met was on a dating app. I was a bit surprised that she matched with me because, frankly, she was quite good looking, maybe a 9 with makeup. She is definitely a 9. He sent me a picture of what she looks like. Definitely hot. And there's definitely in the picture, and no, I'm not going to show this, guys. There's definitely something in that picture. I can just see it in her eyes. I can see the crazy. It's there. You could always tell in the eyes. We got a certain female politician, who I'm not going to mention her name, a congresswoman who's always trying to make herself in the spotlight, who's young, and most certainly she's got those eyes. And she's definitely good looking. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can figure out who I'm talking about. Anyhow, he says, the picture's attached for you to see. Please keep it private. Don't worry about showing it. She was also smart, with 3 master's degrees and having graduated from a top school in China for her bachelor's. 3 master's degrees, so 1 wasn't good enough, and even 2 wasn't good enough. 3 master's degrees? You want to talk about a high achiever here. We went on a few dates over the coming month and a half or so, at which point I decided she was probably not the right fit. She was very high maintenance, kept pushing me to make the relationship more serious, meet my family, and she would just berate me and want to talk constantly. This is the moment this guy should have bailed. Cut her loose. It is what it is. Maybe hooked up a few times and had fun there and just move on. No. He keeps this woman in his life. And right there, amongst the many things, the fact that he said that she was berating him constantly. Guys, it's usually the beginning of a relationship, the honeymoon period, it's usually, for the most part, drama-free. And ought to be. But if there's a lot of drama from the get-go, what does that tell you about her? And the fact that you simply just don't click. So just cut them loose. End of story. You invested some money in some dates and all that, but it is what it is. And maybe you get some and, okay, cool. But he should have listened to his gut, and you're going to see why. He says, we had a couple of significant fights, mostly due to not feeling comfortable about moving so quickly with her. Trust your gut. If she had been more chill, I may have been, but the vibe was just wrong. When I wanted to break it off, she said she wanted to try to keep it going, but it just led to more arguments, particularly around when I didn't want to bring her to meet my family yet at Christmas. I told her I'd be happy to see her before I went to see them for Christmas and a couple of days after, but that really got her angry. Again, this is early on, and trust your gut. He said the vibe wasn't right, something was off, she's high maintenance, drama, picket arguments and fights. You don't need this shit. You're a young guy on your purpose, doing well for yourself, on the rise. So you don't need this crap in the back of your mind causing you a lot of turmoil. And guys, quite frankly, regardless if you're on your purpose or not, you just don't need this shit in your life. But, again, she's hot, great body, and a lot of guys get sucked into the drama. There's something about the crazy chicks that just reel them in. It was the beginning of a pattern of her guilting me a lot over wanting to leave, such that she would be alone during different holidays, whether it be Christmas, New Year's, or the Chinese New Year, or later on during different issues that I'll get into. She also did some real shit like getting into my apartment building and then standing at my door, not leaving for hours until I let her in, because she wanted to talk things through. So she managed to get in your building and stand in front of your door, probably with her arms folded, refusing to leave until you let her in to talk. Again, these aren't subtle signs. These are quite obvious indications that she's nuts. And you think it's going to stop there? Oh, no. Come early January, I was ready to attempt to pull the plug again. I'm blocking her number, but she's getting fake temporary ones to message and call me on. That's when she starts laying it on me that she has other problems that she hasn't been telling me about. Oh, so it gets worse. See? This guy's gut told him from the beginning she's trouble. He didn't listen. So being I'm a stupid nice guy, and because she says I'm the only one she can talk to in the area, I have her come into my office building to talk. Bro, you invited this crazy chick to come to your place of business, to where you work, which is going to set the course for your future. It's bad enough that you're still having her in your life and coming to your apartment, let alone the fact that you, after you had to block her, mind you, and she's been contacting you on different phones, now you're letting her come to your place of business. Dude, smack, you had that coming. And I know you know this, but seriously, obviously you learned from this story, this situation, but seriously, guys, don't invite crazy into your life, let alone to where you work. Imagine if she went off the deep end and got him fired. She tells me that the last guy she dated was this really weird dude who it turns out that she had ended the last relationship with the past summer. She had done so by harassing him, then threatening him via text, then going over to his place and damaging his apartment. This just keeps getting better and better. That led to him getting a protection order against her and being charged with a major crime for damaging his property. She tells me that she thinks she's got a court date coming up that she's really worried about. The next day I get a call from the Cambridge police because the guy got a call from a number he didn't know, which he thought may have been from her. It turns out it was just a robocaller. They wanted to corroborate her story that she'd been with me. At this point, I'm seriously concerned that I'm going to get dragged into her shit, but I keep talking to her because I was dumb. So, let's review. You got told to get away from her, but you didn't. And there's all this turmoil and drama brought into your life. Then you blocked her and all that, but she still kept coming. Then you agreed to meet her at your place of business, which was crazy. You're lucky that she didn't throw a fit there. Now she's got the police calling, getting involved with legal and police matters. You would think by now it's time to bail, but as you said, he was dumb. And let's be honest. What is it really here? What does it really boil down to? We know darn well it's the P word. It's the P word, the hot, crazy P word that's keeping him in. Long story short, she milks this into me basically continue to talk to her and meet with her for a few weeks until the court date. The court date comes and ends with her charge being lowered to a misdemeanor conviction and a probation with therapy. This gal needs a whole lot of therapy. The thing is, she was up for her visa being renewed and her work had to sponsor it. She had to disclose this to her workplace, and though I thought they wouldn't make an issue of it because it was a misdemeanor, it ended up with her visa not being re-upped. She also lost her job, and while she could find another one for a few months before she had to go, she decided that it would just be better to go back to China. Good. Go. Don't come back. She also wasn't allowed to leave the country with her probation, so she had to speak with a judge to get that rescinded. Then, COVID-19 started becoming real shit in February 2020. She had gotten a plane ticket to leave mid-March and begged me to help her before she was to leave, and was to talk to a judge before the flight to get the probation rescinded. She had been renting a room from an older couple for a couple of years and wanted to get out of that because it was making her miserable due to their concern about her going out and bringing COVID back into the space they shared. Her reasoning was that she could stay with me for a couple weeks until she left the country. So, what do you think is going to happen next? Little intermission here. Guys are watching this. Does he say, no way, that's it, I draw the line here, you're not coming to live with me? Or does the nice guy in him come out and he invites crazy to come live with him? Take a wild guess what happens next. I allowed it because, again, I was too nice. And thought she would be gone after a few days anyway. And she moved in at the end of February. Nobody listening to this story in any way, shape, or form will think, or is thinking right now as they listen to this story, that she's going to be gone in a few days. Oh, hell no, because we know what happened. Lockdowns and all that. He says, I also I also only allowed it on the condition that if she was still in the city by the end of March, that she'd get her own living place. Yeah, let's see how that goes. A few days into her stay, it turned out that the flight she was on was canceled. She also couldn't talk to the judge due to get rid of her probation because they were pushing back meetings due to COVID. And her day to talk to the judge got pushed back multiple times. It wasn't until June or so that she was able to get it done. I didn't enforce the move-out date she'd agreed to because she was just not being a huge hassle. More nice guy crap. A few days turned into a few months. Imagine that. And I'd like to know, was she paying this guy? Or was she paying this guy in other ways? About 2 months in, though, she didn't end up being a hassle again, though, because I wanted to go see my family, which she was against because she didn't want to see them, which I was fine with. It's none of her business. To my knowledge, unless something's changed, she's not your girlfriend. Imagine being locked up because during last spring, winter and spring COVID, and people weren't coming out of their places, more or less staying and working at home and living at home, not going anywhere. Imagine being stuck in your place with this crazy lunatic the whole time. Nice guy, being the white knight. I'm sure this guy will never be a white knight ever again after this whole thing. I brought her around them after Christmas for context, but not since then. That fight was pretty big, and it ended up with my asking her to move out. She denied having agreed to move out until I showed her the text messages where she agreed. She told me that she wouldn't move out unless I paid for an apartment for her. But that what she really wanted was for me to move out and back in with my family so she could have my apartment until she left. I told you guys at the beginning of this story, this is the crazy story of the month and the crazy girl story of the month. Look at all this crap this guy invited into his life because he wanted to be the nice guy and he didn't listen to his gut. Don't make this mistake, guys. It doesn't stop here. She then threatens me that if I try to make her leave or if I move her stuff out while she's not in the apartment, that she'll accuse me of doing awful things to her to the police. And we all know darn well that in today's world, 2021, that a simple accusation doesn't make a difference. Really what it is, the guy's guilty. Look what he invited into his life. I was pretty sure that they wouldn't believe her because there's nothing to back up her claim because of her record and because I had no record of my own. But I also knew there were significant difficulties in actually getting someone to leave an apartment, and they could be thought to be a tenant, and even if they weren't on the lease due to COVID-related eviction moratoriums. It doesn't matter if you got proof or not. Just a simple accusation that she could make could land you at the freaking being arrested, amongst many other things. Never, ever shall let her come to your place. Never. Ever, ever, ever. You shouldn't have stayed with her or had her in your life after your gut told you in the beginning she was trouble. Some people got to learn the hard way. He says, I also didn't get along very well with the property managers and thought they may give me a hard time about letting someone stay there who wasn't on the lease. I felt completely stuck. Furthermore, I'd been working remotely during COVID, and it was a studio apartment, so we were always in each other's company during the day. Oh my God. So you didn't even have a separate bedroom to go to? A studio apartment? Where did she sleep? I want to know, where did she sleep? I have a very hard time believing that she was just there as a roommate and sleeping on the floor or the couch. I'm guessing, like I said, she was probably paying in other ways. After all this, man, I really hope that this was the most unbelievable, mind-blowing you-know-what that you ever had, or will ever have. The littlest thing to justify all this BS that you went to. But even then, it's not worth it. He continues, she also continued to push for us to have a real relationship again. She said she'd give me half of her money, which there was presumably a bit of due to her single mother dying a few years prior and her inheriting a couple apartments in China. I want to know how her single mom just happened to pass away. I'm now really curious. I got to wonder, because this sounds like a movie. Did she have something to do with this? One has to question because she got this large inheritance. I know it sounds horrible, but you can't rule anything out. He said she would give him half her money, essentially, if I married her and stayed with her for 2 years so she could get a green card and a citizenship, which I declined. Thank you. Thank the Lord you did not marry this girl. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have followed through with giving me anything if I had. No, not a chance in hell. I asked her at one point why she was doing all this to me, not leaving my apartment and then everything else, and she said it was because I was dumb enough to let it happen to me. She's evil. She also told me that my apartment was worse than any of those other guys that she had dated previously. The guys had all apparently had been wealthy. And the guys were expected to provide for girls regardless in her culture. He says in parentheses, I get the impression she may have been equating her own preferences generally within her culture. In the middle of the summer, I actually did end up being promoted, which increased my compensation about threefold, in the low six figures overall. Awesome. At least that's going well for you. Congratulations on the major promotion and major increase in pay. You earned it, and you're going to need it. She lamented the fact that she had been with me during the time when I was relatively poor, but still not lacking anything important and being pretty comfortable, and that she wouldn't be able to be with me when I became well off. She actually said that, it's too bad I was with you when you were poor, and I'm going to be gone when you're rich. This woman is nuts. That summer really sucked, but I managed to get through it. The lease ended up at the end of the summer, and I made it clear I was moving back with my family until COVID was over, and that she wasn't coming. That said, her probation had been rescinded, and she was finally able to get a flight back to China at the end of the summer. Adios. Don't ever come back. I had a total of less than a week with my lovely apartment to myself before leaving to stay with my family, which ended up being a good decision regardless. Having their company during COVID had been quite nice. Yeah, and you go live with your family. I'm going to guess your family probably wouldn't charge you much, if anything, to live with them. So all that money you're bringing in from your major promotion, you can put away, which I hope you're doing. Putting it in building a really good emergency fund, investing it, putting it in all the right places, because you're in the financial business. I don't need to preach to you. I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but yeah, save that money, bro. Since she left, I blocked her email addresses, changed phone numbers, and have continued to focus on my work. I'm doing well with my work and have been interviewing for other jobs at higher ranks with other great firms that would increase my compensation another 3 to 4-fold. Sweet, bro. So, I'm on my way to achieving my goals. I'm open to finding someone to date, but have shored up my red flag sensors and boundaries. Anyway, that's my story. Second worst girl I've ever dated. That's the second worst? Bro, you need to send me an email about the worst girl you ever dated. I mean, I thought this is pretty bad. I mean, this is really bad, but this is the second worst? Please email me your story about the worst. I got to hear this. Hopefully that can give your listeners some entertainment. Feel free to reach out if you care to get a beer sometime. Well, bro, that is quite the story. And I know it's tough on you a few points, but I think you understand it's not personal. I'm being serious, but I'm also joking around here. Pretending like you're talking to me in a bar having a beer with this story. But anyhow, like I told you guys in the beginning, crazy story of the month. But guys, like I said before, the lessons here. Number one, the hot crazy scale. It is true. This girl was smoking hot, and look what he put up with. Because I guarantee you, if she wasn't very good looking, if she was above average, this wouldn't have happened. But he put up with it because obviously her looks and body and all that. And like I told you in the picture, she's hot. But she's got crazy in those eyes, let me tell you. The hot crazy scale, dead on. Also, number two, about being the white knight nice guy. Look at all the crap that was brought into his life by being the nice guy, being the white knight to save the girl, okay? Don't do that, guys. Don't invite all this drama and turmoil into your life. I mean, you would think, when I first read the story, I thought it would end early on, but let alone her living with him for a period of time. Oh my, I'm surprised that guy didn't just jump out the window into the Charles River at some point. Seriously. Or she pushed him out the window into the Charles River. And the last one also, trusting your gut. When your gut tells you something's wrong, pay attention to it. Okay, your gut is like your sixth sense, your superpower. It warns you. So for this guy here who sent me a story, great story, man, very entertaining. I'm going to assume that you definitely learned your lesson and you're not going to invite this type of crap in your life. But I will tell you this, man. If this girl is the second worst nut job girlfriend you date in your life, and there's someone far worse, number one, send me the story about her, the first one. But number two, I think you obviously have a thing that you obviously are attracted to these types of gals. So you need to really be careful in the future, because you may think you've learned your lesson here, but the universe is interesting and likes to test us and challenge us. So mark my words, you're going to have another nut job cross your path in the future. Mark my words. Except now you're making darn good money, and probably even more money as you're focusing on your purpose and making something of yourself in this world. Be careful. Don't make the same mistake again. Otherwise, it could be far worse the next time around. So, but anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.